Continue with our top story. Cape Town, of course, a tourism mecca. August is a peak holiday month for people from the Northern Hemisphere. So let's find out how the taxi stay away has been impacting tourism in the city. And of course, whether it's impacted South Africa's international reputation as a holiday destination in general. I'm joined by the CEO of the SA Tourism Business Council, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa. Tshifhiwa, thank you so much for joining us. We know that yesterday there was a blockade on the N2. I think that led to one cancellation of a flight and a number of delays. But all told, has this 7-day, 6-day now strike had an impact on tourism in the city?
Well, good evening to you and to your viewers. Yes, indeed. The strike has an impact on tourism, and it has an impact on the reputation of South Africa and Cape Town. And we've seen this by way of travel advisories that were issued by the likes of the UK for their citizens. So it has an impact from those that work within our establishments who are unable to travel to work, be it at hotels, and be it at restaurants and many other businesses along the value chain. So it does have an impact, both short-term and long-term, because for now, we are seeing a lot of people really talking about cancellations. And for long-term, it's going to come with reputation. When people consider traveling to South Africa and to Cape Town, it's going to have an impact along the line. So we have to really look at the situation and see how it can be resolved.
I think very troubling in terms of tourism. I mean, we've just focused on how the poor commuter is absolutely stuck in the middle, and this, of course, will impact South Africans' jobs, livelihoods, etc. But if we look at the 5 murders at the police, and they've issued a statement on this today, this last Monday, someone was killed in eNCA, not yet identified. Also on the airport approach road, another person shot and killed, not identified. Saturday, also a person killed in Umfuleni. Friday, a LEAP officer that we know about was shot and killed on duty. But Thursday last week in eNCA, it says here, 40-year-old male shot and killed. Police investigations have revealed this is a British national. Now, the way things work, as soon as there's a foreigner killed in South Africa, it tends to make international headlines. We don't have much more information than this, but is this the sort of thing that could cause serious reputational damage if indeed this person's a tourist and not a dual national?
Well, indeed, it does cause a lot of reputational damage, for any tourist in any country around the world. Who would been affected in this way or who would die in this way. It does have, long-term reputation damage. We've dealt with these kinds of things in the past. And also it does have a reputational damage if it's a South African who's killed, in any way, form or shape, because it does make international news in terms of, the number of murders that we may have in the country. So it's quite important that, the situation that we have at hand is resolved for both South Africans to be able to go to work, those who work in the tourism industry, and for both tourists, be it domestic or international tourists that are traveling into Cape Town. They should be able to move around and do what they're supposed to do, impact the economy, whether it's within the city or in the townships. I think it's quite important that the work that we've done in making sure that we diversify the tourism offering, be it by introducing new experiences in Khayelitsha or in eNCA and many other places. We want those businesses in those areas to thrive. And it's also very important to note that, the taxi industry, when we look at, especially the long-distance taxis, where people travel home, what we call visiting friends and relatives, it's an important aspect of tourism, and taxi industry plays an important role. So for us, we want to see both, those that are in the negotiating tables, be it from the taxi industry or from the government side, to really sit down and resolve the issue and put, plan in place that will, instill confidence for travelers who are coming from other areas of the country or who are coming from overseas, so that there can be certainty, we can operate, we can impact the economy, and we can protect the reputation of the city. Not long ago, Cape Town was named by a newspaper in the UK as the best city in the world. and we want to make sure that remains, and we are the best city in the world, or we have the best city in the world, and the best country in the world for people to visit. So we need to protect that reputation, because the return on that reputation, it's far greater. It means jobs, it means economic impact, and we need to find each other around the negotiating table and come up with a solution to whatever is going on, whatever the details that may be there. We believe that it's important that we resolve this. There is a role to be played by the taxi industry, in moving people around for tourism purposes or for travel purposes. And there's also a role for government to do in terms of, enforcement of laws and so forth and so on. But we need to find each other. We need to resolve. There was a massive strike that was happening there. The recovery, is important. We don't seem to recover fast enough as a destination and as a continent when this type of things happen. So we need to make sure that we protect the reputation on a long term. So we may not be seeing something now that's significant. However, there are discussions that are going on, with the trade partners overseas. They are reconsidering, because they don't want to bring tourists into a situation whereby the risk is far greater than what they've anticipated. So it's going to have an impact long term. What we're going to need to work on from our side is the recovery plan, in terms of how do we go back to the reputation that we had, and how do we protect it, and how do we make sure that the travelers are assured and are able to come down into South Africa and into Cape Town.
And I would imagine that part of the problem for you is, having spoken to our reporters, although officially the taxi stay away is due to end on Thursday after the public holiday, the truth is we're not getting clarity on whether there's been any real breakthrough. The Mayor of Cape Town saying those taxis will stay impounded until further notice. So how are you able to give reassurance to your international partners if you actually don't know what Thursday is going to look like?
Well, that's why I'm saying that we have to prioritize solving the impasse and make sure that we come up with a solution. And that solution is not only for either government or the taxi association, it's for the economy of the city of Cape Town, it's for the economy of the country. We need to make sure that there's movement of people, there's movement of goods, and so forth and so on. If we cannot solve that, it means that, we really need to, go back, close the door, talk about what we need to talk about, and come up with a solution. There is no room for failure when it comes to this type of things, because leadership is required. We need to make sure that, whatever is happening has to be resolved. We cannot have a continuation of the same thing. And that's why it's important that, leadership is provided from government level and from the private sector level to make sure that this is solved. We cannot have this going on any longer. The reputation is going to be impacted in a far greater way than we had anticipated. And we don't want to be dealing with situation of recovery in a way that is going to take longer. Tourism is important for this country. It's important for Cape Town. It employs a lot of people, young people, and want to get jobs or want to get involved in the industry. Entrepreneurs want to get involved. Many people work within our establishments. They need to go to work, and they use public transportation. We need to make sure that we resolve the issues at hand. We need to make sure that there's leadership that's provided, and we come out of this with a plan on how we're going to deal with the challenges that are there in Cape Town.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. Much appreciated. CEO of the SA Tourism Business Council, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa.